Hello, this is Akiko Sudano at StampinInTheMeadows.com in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. And hello, thank you so much for joining me today. And I'm going to make a card with the Stampin' Up! Garden Wishes bundle. And this is part of the Dandy Garden Suite, Dandy Wishes Suite, I think. Hi, Chi. Thank you so much for joining me. Hi, Connie. Thanks for joining me today. And this is a stamp and die bundle. And it's got these pretty images, and these are dandelions. And then it's got the cute little bee here. And I typically don't like dandelions in the garden, but I am happy with this stamp set because I think the images are beautiful. Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Sunday. And these are, it's just so pretty. I think the images are pretty. And then these are the dies that go with it. And I'm using, for my card front, I'm using all of these different dies to make this beautiful dimensional flower here. So this is the stamp bundle that we're using. And then the other thing is that it's got some really pretty sentiments. And I just love the fonts. They're so delicate. And they stamp in a very, very thin line, too. That's another thing I think that's distinctive about this stamp set. So I'm using this stamp bundle for my card. And first, let me fess up that this card is, I think this layout is pretty much based on one that's in the catalog and the new mini catalog. And I've changed it up a bit. And I don't remember if they used the Misty Moonlight back paper, but this is from the Dandy Garden 6x6 paper. And but I've mixed it up a little bit. But I thought that was really pretty. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to use this dimensional flower here. So let me first start with my background card, with my card front. And I've cut the designer series paper. And let me glue that down. And I've cut it so that it will cover the whole card front. And that's going to be the background of the card. There we go. Just cover that up, and I want to make sure that I don't put this on upside down. And be careful not to get glue all over myself. Yeah, there we go. And I'll put this down, adhere this so that it basically covers. And I wasn't sure whether I should use Misty Moonlight or Night of Navy. Oh, that's my inside panel. I want to pull that out so I don't get that messed up. And just put that in. There we go. Now, one of the things that I noticed afterwards with this is that this is probably one of the instances, I don't know if you can you see the white core of the designer series paper? This is probably one that I should have put some Misty Moonlight ink on the edges to hide that so that it doesn't show. And I didn't do that, but if you copy this card, that's something that maybe you should consider. All right. So then the next thing that I did was I put this this designer series paper is in the mini catalog. So that retirement list is probably this is going to be available through June. Until the next mini catalog comes out. So this is not on the retiring list that's out there right now. But I think that eventually this one is going to end up going before the summer. But this is a 6x6 pack. So then let me show you what I did here, because I used the Stitch with Whimsy dies to get the stitching around the panel. And this, let me show you those dies. This is, it doesn't do any cutting. It just does the stitched lines and stuff. So what I did was I wanted to have some texture. And what I wanted to have some texture, so I embossed this panel with the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing panel embossing folder. I embossed it first, and I wasn't sure if it was going to look. I liked it better if I embossed it first, and I still have some of the texture, and it's not that dramatic of a texture, but what happens is that the you can, I don't know if you can see, if I bring it even closer, you can, there you go, you can see how the die cut, the dies kind of eliminate the texture, so you have a really prominent stitched look around it, and I liked that. So I thought that that would be a for me that looked better, because I liked it better with the stitching being prominent, because if I did the embossing after I did the die cutting, then I would the stitching kind of fades away, and this way I've got a very prominent look with the stitching. So I'm going to adhere this down to on the panel, and I'm going to put this on with liquid glue also. There we go. And just kind of center this on the panel. And all of the sizes, I'll have them in my blog tomorrow. Okay, so I've got this down, and then I'm going to put this aside, and then I'll go through over the die cuts, all the die cuts that I have here. The first thing that I have is this die, and I cut this one, and I guess this is like after when the dandelions are have gone to seed, and I cut this out of vellum, so I put that one in the back here. And so I have this die, and I cut this one out of vellum. And then the next thing is that all of these little dies are make the flower petals, and so you have these nice kind of like geometric kind of angular flower petals. So it has a very, very modern look. And I didn't cut the full stem. This is the this die, but I didn't cut the full stem because I knew I was going to cut it off at the bottom, and we'll trim that once we get everything laid together. So I cut these out of Bumblebee. That's all these guys. So I cut those out of Bumblebee, and then I cut the these grass leaves, and I think they're just so gorgeous. These are these two dies, and I cut these out of Garden Green. And then there's the Dandelion Leaves, and there's two dies for that, and I just used the two dies, and they're these two guys. And the thing about this a little bit, at first you'll notice the veins, the embossed veins. Let me see if I can get that good. It's having a hard time. But the embossed veins kind of go downwards like this. So I was really confused at first. I was thinking, does it go like this or does it go like this? And then I looked on the picture of the thing, and all of these veins or leaf veins are going downwards. So I concluded that they go this way with the arrowhead kind of pointing up. So that's the way I chose to decide, and it was based on this that I chose to decide to arrange my my card front. So these are cut out of Mossy Meadow, Garden Green, Bumblebee, and Vellum. So those are the main elements in the front of the card here. So let's go ahead and pull that together. The first thing I did was put this, and I'm going to adhere this with a glue dot. Let's see, here we go. And I'm going to just stick the glue dot in the center here of, let me make sure I'm in the camera, put the glue dot in the center where I've got kind of a lot of room here, and pull that off. And then I want to adhere this so that this is kind of up high, and this kind of, and then the bottom of the stem kind of goes towards the towards one central place that I'll be having everything meet up together. Okay, so that's going to be there. And this, I want to go high, and then this guy, I want to go down a little bit lower. But before I go on, I want to color the stem here. And I colored it with my Mossy Meadow Stampin' Blend, and this is the dark one. And so I just want to be careful on the top here so that I get as crisp a line on the flower petal, and then just color the rest of the stem. And so that's what I'm doing. And I tend to go with Stampin' Blends for a lot of things these days, but I think that this could easily be colored with the Stampin' Right markers, just so that you've got a kind of a greenish stem color. And since the leaves are Mossy Meadow, I decided to use the Mossy Meadow. And I'll stick some glue dots back here again, and actually just one is good enough, I think. And I'll put that down. And I want to have the bottom of the stem come kind of on top of this guy, but I want to make sure that this is kind of strategically placed in case the glue dot from this guy shows. So I want to make sure that this is kind of, maybe right here. I'll use that petal to cover that, and then put that down, and I think that'll be good. And then I'm going to just kind of flick these up a little bit, just gently, so that I get a little bit of dimension. Now the bottom one is not going to be flicked up, but do that. Oops, and then this guy is under that guy went over there, so I want to slide him back around. There we go. There. Okay. All right. Now then, I'll take the next biggest one, and I'll go ahead and flick those. And I cut these out of just cardstock, and I didn't do any shading to them. But I've seen other cards where they've shaded these, and they're really pretty. And so I'm going to take this and adhere it with glue dots, and I'm going to use my little tweezer here so that my fat fingers aren't in the way, and try to try to put it in the center, and try to put these the second layer of petals kind of in between. And it's not all of them are gonna get there, but it'll be fine. There we go. So then I'll get the next to the largest one, and do the same, kind of bend these up. I think this flower is just so pretty. It's kind of like a geometric, so it's not really realistic, but I think it's really pretty. Okay, so there's another glue dot, and do the same thing here. Is stick the petals in between. As much as I can. They're not all going to go in between. There we go. And then the final little one here. do the same thing. There we go. Sorry, all right. And, oops, let me get the glue dot on this first before I try to do that. There we go. And then put that on. There. And then you can always pull it up, pull the petals up after it's been attached. Now for the center, I decided to use these little wooden elements, and this is the In Good Taste elements, where you've got the leaves and the leaves and then the leaf branches and stuff, and then you've got these little little octagons, and then these little plus signs and stuff. And I decided that since these guys have a very geometric thing, let me go ahead and use one of these octagons and as a kind of a geometric center for my flower. And I'm going to adhere this with a glue dot too, but let's put a glue dot. And one of the issues that I have with these is I can't figure out which is the front and which is the back. But I'll get a glue dot and stick that on there, and then I will put the glue dot on the flower center. It feels like it needs to have something in the flower, whether you want to use different rhinestones, or you could use anything. But I decided to do that, and then I took my Mango Melody Stampin' blend, and I went ahead and I colored this so that it would have more of a, instead of having a natural wood look, more of a yellow that kind of blended in with the with the flower, and I think that's fine. So then that's my flowers, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere my my leaves. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to put some of the grass in the back and then some of the grass in the front. So I've got this one, and this is the long one, and I'm going to adhere this with a glue dot. Oops. Actually, I'm going to adhere this with two glue dots, and I've got this one just covering that side, and then this one I'm going to kind of let stick out a little bit, and I'm going to show you why I'm doing that. I'm going to put this down, and I want to stick this kind of behind. So I've got a nice straight edge here, and I want to stick this down right here so that the straight edge is even with the bottom. I want to kind of maintain that. And then I'll stick these little stems kind of on top. Let them grab onto that little piece of glue dot there. And then I'm going to take the scissor and I'm going to just trim off the these stems so that they're even with kind of even with the bottom of this thing right here, and just trim them off. Come on. There we go. And I'm going to flick that guy around. If he's not going to stay, but that's fine, because I'm going to have something else in there. Hi, Connie. Yeah, this is really this. I thought this was really pretty in the catalog too. Um, in the one in the catalog, I think they do some stamping in the background with white craft ink, and then they use the stamped image instead of the die cut image in the catalog. But and so I decided I wanted to use the graphic kind of look of the die cut flower and stuff instead of the stamp flower. And but I think they used this die cut, the Stitch with Whimsy die cut around, and I think that it was also in Seaside Spray ink. But it was pretty, and I was really surprised at how pretty it came out, and how pretty the Seaside Spray looks with the mossy meadow and everything. So I'm gonna take the dandelion leaf, and I'm gonna adhere that also with glue dots, if I can get that glued. You're welcome, Connie. I know. I thought that was so pretty, and I I wanted to do something. I don't feel really good about copying everything verbatim, but some of it is just inspiration. So you just go with it. So I'm going to put this kind of on the edge here and kind of going up, and you can see that this is going to adhere that, and I just want to make sure that this leaf is on there, is on the and it's going to cover the vellum leaf, and then I'll put glue dots, and these dandelion leaves are thick enough so that you can easily adhere them with glue dots. And do one more. And put it again right here. And then this is gonna cover up a lot of this grass. So you just end up with the texture from the layering. And that's why I wanted to put this one right here next to it, so that there's a little bit more green of the garden green, the grass look. And I'll just add another glue dot there, and put this on so that it's kind of even with the bottom here, and it kind of covers that. There we go. Okay, so that's my those are my dandelion flower elements. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, get rid of this. Next thing I'm going to do is I am going to stamp my sentiment. And what I've got is 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to use the Wishing You All the Best sentiment. And I'm going to bring in just a scratch paper, because I want to with the weather, and this is such a fine lined, there we go, it's such a fine lined drawing, and my inks are, I can never tell, either they're too juicy and they're really kind of a mess, or they're not juicy enough, and I don't get a good design. So I'm stamping it kind of off to the right a little bit, and hoping that this is even. We'll see. I think I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to do this with my grid lines, and hopefully I get a little bit better stamped image with that, a little straighter, so I can line up my stamp a little bit better. just a little low, but that's straight at least. So that's good. And then I'm going to use the Pick-a-Punch. This is the Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch, and I'm going to use this this end so that it's just a little bit fancy, but not too much. And cut both ends, and this 3/4 of an inch will fit right in between in this this middle slot here, and push it down. And I always like to check in the back here just to make sure everything is lined up straight so that I get a good clean punch. Don't know where that went, but that looks good. And then flip it over and stick it in the same place, slide it down, and this one I think needs to go up. That was just a little too much maybe. Let's seat it again. There we go. I think that looks good. Thank you so much. And then this is our this is going to be the label. So I'll clean this up here. And then I'm going to, oops, I need to get some dimensionals. Actually, this one doesn't use very many dimensionals, but I want to put, and this is which is the good side. This is, I think, the good side. Yeah, that's the crooked side. This is the side that's going to get confused. Okay, so I want to make sure that because of the bulk on over here, this is going to hold this up, but I want to make sure that I have I've got something holding it on this side as well as on this side. And you know what, that's a little bit, that edge is just, I didn't cut that very well, so I'm going to just, can you see the little, there we go, can you see how it's, I didn't align it really well, so I'm going to just use my paper snips and trim that off a little bit. Just nip it a little bit to get rid of that, and then nip this corner a little bit to get a little bit of a curve on this corner. Yeah, there we go. I guess another thing would be to just put it in the punch and try to punch it out, cut it again. That's another option. Or not even worry about it. Okay, so let's get our dimensionals on, and I want one on the very, very edge here so that it straddles the flower. Hi, Chris. Thank you for joining me. I think a lot of people have joined me that I haven't said hi to, and I apologize for that. Okay, and then pull off my dimensional covers. Here's my little trash bowl. I'm done with my punch, so I can move that aside and put my label on. Right. I'll put it over here so that I get more of this grass showing. There. Basically, you want to make sure it's nice and straight. All right. So then I have this, I made this little kind of embellishment twist thing right here, and I did this with this pretty bumblebee ribbon, and I just folded that in half and then took a piece of linen thread and wrapped it around it to tie a bow. And I figured this should be simple to do, right? And we'll get it started, and then we can fuss with it to get everything and positioned correctly. There. And then make my loops. That's the tops of this one. I want this one to be here. And then go around. And then pull this. Okay. All right, so now we can even things up. They don't have to be that big. That's good. And then just give it a good, nice, snug it up. Snug up that knot. Make sure it's nice and tight. There we go. There. And then I'm going to trim. I think that end is a good length. And so I'll trim this end to be about that long. There we go. And let's see here. Put another glue dot in the back. That's going to hold things pretty well for us. There we go. And use my tweezer to place this on my label so that I don't cover up the words, but I just have a little extra touch of color here on the bottom, and a little bit of something that's interesting. And then these cute little bees. There's one of these sheets of paper has all these. There we go. All these little bees, and I just die cut one of the bees from there, and I'm going to attach him on the back with a dimensional. And that's good enough. And then stick it like right here, I guess, so that it's a little more yellow in the corner there. There we go. Now, with this stamp set, if you really want to get, there's a stamp for like a flying trail. That would be cute. And then this stamp here with all the little dandelion things that kind of fly away with the dandelion seeds and stuff like that. That would be pretty. And those would make nice things to accent the background and stuff. But I didn't do that, and so I just added the bee there. So that's the card front that I have today. Now, let's see. For the inside of the card, I have a set, some designer series paper. I have a strip of that, and then I have the. Then I took the big dandelion stamp, and I'm going to stamp that. And on my, where's my sample card? Is this my sample card? No, this is my sample card. On my sample card, I stamped it on the center of the card. I stamped it in Mossy Meadow ink after stamping off twice. So I think on this one, I'm going to stamp it on the side over here instead of doing it right in the middle there. So I'm going to ink up my stamp with Mossy Meadow ink. And one of the thing about this is too, I think that this is very, very similar to the artwork that's on the designer series paper. So you've got the artwork that's on the designer series paper picked up on the inside of the card, and so it's carried over to the inside of the card as well. And I'm going to stamp it off twice on this. 1, 2. So I get a very, very light look in here, and I'm gonna, let's see, I'm going to move this over to the side here so that I can see whether or not I'm straight. I think that's fine. So I have a little bit of a dandelion on the side there, and then I'll just trim the bottom with the Designer Series paper. And then I'm almost done. That looks pretty good. Trim off the excess. And then use my Stampin' seal to, sorry about that, to adhere this to the inside of the card. So I hope that you consider, if you don't already have the Dandy Garden stamp set, I hope you consider this, because I think it's really, it's a pretty, and it goes well with the, no, this is the Garden Wishes stamp set goes well with the Dragonfly Garden bundle with the dragonflies, and the sentiments are all the same style of sentiments, and so that so that's the inside of the card. So that's a nice complement to the stamp set. And there's my card. I hope you like it, and I hope you consider it. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a great week. And next weekend, since it's Easter, I'm not going to be doing a live video, but I'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll see what happens then. So thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great week, and thank you so much. I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.